How's it going, everybody? I'm back in Fallout 4. I'm actually at a very old build. So, like the previous times that I've done old builds, I'm probably going to redo this one. I think this is the next settlement I'm going to do. It's going to be on a separate save from what I've been building on. It's going to be the same save that I actually built my Sanctuary treehouse on. And so, this is my Starlight Drive In settlement, and the part that I'll probably be focusing on is this part. So, when I originally built here, I wanted to build on the front of the actual drive-in theater screen, and I wanted to build this huge market, uh, and I didn't quite build it the way that I quite imagined it. I kind of imagined sort of like a Rivet City when you walk in there, and then it's this huge open market, and just it was kind of something that you couldn't really do yet in the game with what was in it. But I still like the way that this turned out. Like even back then, I thought that this was cool. That's why I actually came back to this, and that's why I decided that I was going to redo it. Is because I really like the concept behind this, is having all these markets in one building. Like I've got clothing, bars, Kim's, everything that I could need. But I just think that overall this settlement wasn't quite what I had in mind. And then this first building was what I had built when I first got here, and then everything else that you'll see came afterwards. So this is a three-story building. So the second story, you come up here. This was mainly This settlement was me trying to get 100% happiness. So that's why there's so many shops. That's why there's so much stuff. And I didn't really attempt to build anything cool. I just was trying to get as much stuff as I could in the settlement. And so you'll see I've got good stores. There's paintings everywhere. There's these weird rooms that are just rugs and stuff like that. Because I'd seen online that all of this stuff went into it. That was right when the game came out. So, I mean, if you go look at other YouTubers like Oxhorn, he really like he has like a calculator that you can get to figure out what you need exactly to get 100% happiness. And also, you'll see that electricity, I was just like, yeah, just put wires everywhere. It'll work out. And you'll notice that there's lights. It's because up here, this was supposed to be bars and stuff. So, like, I had a huge bar. Apparently, I had a freaking ashtray in the middle of the room. And honestly, just before I built this, or just before I recorded this video, I went through and deleted the, like, 15 generators I had throughout this building. And then that's the rest of the settlement. I think that that looks a lot better than like what this building does. That's why I'm redoing this building. And I probably won't do all of that. I may do something, a little something like that, but I probably won't do the big like city outside of this huge thing. Um, but as you can see, I've just got a bunch of shacks. There's no decorations at all, nothing behind the shacks. I just had these lights that I thought were necessary. But also, whenever I played through this, my defense was like 391 in this settlement because I just had like missile turrets like every like couple feet. And so it's just you'll notice I have turrets right there, there, there. And I called this the Trader's Paradise because I had so many trade posts. But now I'm gonna walk through the small like town like or whatever this is, I guess. Uh, you'll see for some reason I thought that I needed planters when those came out, so I went ahead and used those a bunch. And then I wanted this gap underneath for some reason so that like you could walk underneath it, but I realized like soon after I built this that like my settlers would just spawn down there and not where they're supposed to be. But you'll also notice, like, whenever I went out to the side, that there's just like this huge, like, floating. There's a bunch of floating pieces of the building just out over the land. But I'm just gonna take you through a couple of the houses. So this is after I started really getting into decorating and stuff like that. Um, Not quite. Um, I don't. Nuka World definitely wasn't out. I think that Wasteland Workshop had just come out. So because I remember that I had built this like weird concrete building, and then I was like, it doesn't really fit with anything. So I'm just gonna build with what I have so far. And you'll notice, like I said, there's missile turrets like every 5 feet. They're everywhere, especially all over that main building. But I really liked the way that these kind of little shacks turned out, even without decorations. Like, I think that they still looked pretty good. Uh, I liked to pile boxes everywhere, which I still do. You'll notice that, but back then I just made do with what I had. And whenever I built this shack, this was the first house that I actually built. Um, Also, every decoration you see, like I just picked that up there, uh, it's just everything was placed by hand. But this shack, when I originally built it, I just filled with sleeping bags. I didn't actually like decorate or anything like that. It wasn't until much later, whenever I kind of built this little boardwalk around the water and built all these houses, that I actually moved a lot of the beds. I just had filled like one room with like 25 sleeping bags, and these rugs are floating off the ground. But afterwards, I had moved a bunch of stuff into their own houses, like beds in their own houses and stuff. And like I said previously, I literally placed all those decorations by hand, and then apparently they're all glitched out now. And then on these windows, I did this a lot, and you'll see this again later, is I put these light bulbs on the end of these windows, and I thought that those used to look really cool. I mean, I think that they still do look kind of different, but I thought it was an interesting way to light areas outside of buildings. But also, this was like really different compared to what I usually built. I also didn't put an actual wall in there, I just put a shelf in front of it. But not only did I build just scrappy looking stuff back then, uh, I built really bad looking stuff. So that's why a lot of these aren't my original builds. This is like much later. I had gone back and I had fixed a lot of stuff. I did gaudy stuff like that too, where I put lights down the side of the street for some reason. Don't know why I did that. Uh, but I really liked this. So this originally was going to be like a motel type of thing. That's why there's each individual rooms and stuff and one soda. But yeah, I just made these little like preset. Oh, I think Vault Tech had those beds. So I guess I'd went back and replaced all these beds with nicer ones. But I remember previously I had like two beds in each room. And so this building is actually a bar, and this is like way decorated compared to what I usually would do back in the day. Uh, but yeah, it's a little bar. They also, when I did this save, I was Institute. I went through the game with the Institute, so that's why there's Institute flags everywhere and stuff like that. But you'll notice that all of these decorations, there's just piled everywhere because settlers like to destroy all the nice stuff that I make for them. But I placed cooking areas for this guy. He had a bed back there. Little lounge area in the bar slash diner, I guess, because there's some counters to eat at. Had some cigars and an ashtray. And then upstairs I had a couple areas to eat. I think that this build was actually kind of inspired by Moriarty's bar in Fallout 3 because his bar was kind of, you walked in, the bar was right there, but then the stairs were on the left side and they went up, and then there was a balcony, but there was a bunch of rooms up there because he also had places that he rented out, but there's none in this house. But uh, I think that the little balcony upstairs was kind of inspired by that. And then I had done all sorts of gaudy stuff again, like I said. And then here's another example of a time where I put lights all over the side of a house. And then this little walkway area, I think this actually looks really good for like what was available then and what was possible then. And honestly, a lot more probably was possible, but I just didn't know how to build. And then this is where I had all my water. That little green box, I actually put a bunch of my purified water in there. I guess not a bunch of, but I put some of my purified water in there. And then out here in the back, this was after, oh, I guess it was after Far Harbor came out. I decided that I was gonna build a little place to store food. And so I put a bunch of meat inside of that little cage area to try to keep it all in one spot. And then I had some pretty interesting things for defenses here, like this. I really like the way that this looks. I think that it could be done better now, but little circular balcony type of thing. It's two different uh, defense, like guard post, not defense post. But the next thing I'm going to show you guys is a couple of houses I built. This is 3 houses actually. I think that these look really good for how compact they are. It's just a small little shack with 2 beds, and I mean, that's 6 beds right there if these are 3 houses, and you could fill a bunch of these. These would probably still hold to this day. Also, yeah, so after Far Harbor came out, I bought a bunch of dogs and sent them here to increase the happiness. And then, like I said, the shacks are pretty simple. They're pretty much the same decoration and everything like that. Just different variations or whatnot. And that was a really cool idea I thought I had a long time ago, was use the basketball goal as a guard or as a post to hold up a building. And you can't see it through the wall or anything like that. But, yep, go ahead and fall off. It's nice. But yeah, I think that this is a really good use of space, like for such a compact building. And then in here, you'll see that I didn't do anything, but there was a door to the left that I didn't show you. But I actually fenced off this whole settlement. This is like right after I found out about the pillar glitch, and so I did that. But this is something I did too. And I think this is actually a really cool way to defend Starlight Drive In and have a good defense. But another little thing that I did after Far Harbor, when they added the cages and actually in workshop decoration or workshop, Wasteland Workshop, I decided I was gonna have about 50 cats, and so I did. And then yeah, so this was super bad. Oh man, I hate going back at my old builds and seeing like how bad I was, but I do enjoy seeing things that I built because I had good ideas, I think. Also this, I was like, oh yeah, we'll use that billboard out there to show off the settlement. But you guys can obviously see that huge staircase. That was pretty much for me to sit up there like a king over my 100% happiness settlement. But I'll probably be redoing this build in the next couple videos, or maybe for a while, but let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.